at you.
Unlike Loretta, I am looking very COVID chic.
You're looking very COVID chic, sir.
You look like a professor. I don't know why.
You also look like a band leader.
I definitely accept the band leader, definitely.
So we're glad to see you. Can you clean your camera so you can be
sorry.
Not so gauzy and blurred.
Maybe that's the look.
Is that better?
Oh, much better. Everything works better. Add a little contrast.
This is true.
Well,
had to adjust the levels and the curves. We all good.
That's it. So first off, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for allowing us to give you your flowers because you do deserve them.
Absolutely.
And
I appreciate it for having me here.
And I'm glad that you took time up because I know you're busy at this time of the day. So we appreciate your time at this moment.
No, man, I couldn't say no to y'all.
Well, I know that you may get a little nervous because you never know what will come out of his mouth when I ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look, it is what it is, you know. It is what it is. So shoot away. One thing I do got to correct you on, though. Not born in Seattle, born in Cleveland.
Oh,
Cleveland, born in Cleveland.
Born in Cleveland and moved to Seattle, then moved to Philly.
Okay, let's talk about this migration.
Yeah.
So you born at what time? How old were you when you left Cleveland?
Too young to remember.
Oh, so you did leave as a child. So it was a family move.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a family move.
Okay, and when you got to Seattle, how long before you came to the East Coast again? How old were you?
I was 27 when I moved to Philly.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
So you've been there for a little bit of time.
Little bit. long enough to know we don't go to Geno's or Pat's.
Okay. We went to
those.
Yeah.
Oh no,
yeah. Thank you for that. We should have called you when we wanted to get good food. So
I'm surprised. I'm surprised Eliab didn't warn y'all off.
Nah, he
was too busy trying to be big dog. But we'll talk about that another time. We had to wing it for ourselves like tourists. But let's get into this.
Let's get in.
You are a magnificent artist.
Yes.
And you have grown exponentially over the past few years. When did you pick up a camera and realize this is what you wanted to do? This was the extension of Darryl.
I picked up a camera at 35.
Okay, and you how old now?
I am 42.
Okay, so 7 years. So what made you pick up the camera?
I originally wanted to do a gadget blog and help people not get ripped off. And so I figured I'd do that, take some good pictures of products. I used to review cell phones and other gadgets, stuff like that, for a small website.
That's online?
No longer. but think I was definitely trying to get on with Engadget before The Verge became a thing. It was This Is My Next. I was really trying to go down that path.
Okay. So why the camera? How did that call you?
It's really my ex-girlfriend's fault. You're gonna find me blame her a lot.
Okay.
Because when I figured out that the people that I was trying to reach wasn't reading my gadget blog. It was other people who knew better. You know, I wasn't trying to help people like Tanya. Tanya doesn't need it. I was trying to help people that were pretty much scared of technology.
Mm.
So my camera pretty much sat on the shelf. And then my ex told her job that my boyfriend's a great photographer. He could definitely shoot our event. Never shot an event. He'll be perfect to do it. And she works for a very big, I'm not going to reveal her employer, but it was a very major employer in Philadelphia. And it was their signature event. And then when she came home and told me, I was like, are you out of your mind? So I shot the event. The pictures were ass. However, clients don't know the difference between pictures that are ass and pictures that are good. They just like that, hey, we had pictures. And we like seeing what we saw. However, I knew better and knew that things had to radically change or from me because I don't like being asked at anything.
So you 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 picked up your camera. You realized that you needed to be better.
You had this
Ass photos.
Ass photos, butt
Ass
cheeks.
photos.
So how did you?
How did that go to you
Boxing.
stepping into boxing? Because that's such a niche type of photography where everything is placed in anticipation, timing, and expertise. So how did that come about? You don't just go from taking ass photos to being at the side of a boxing ring.
In my case, you do. And this is how. I was in Days World for a little bit. I used to work at King. Yeah, that one. I was in Days World for a little bit. I had a small stint as a graphic designer. And again, it was less about being creative and more about fixing problems. I used to work at the third shift at Kinko's. So I used to help out with art students when they were on their $3,000, $4,000 MacBook and then realized that they had to print from a PC and they were wondering why their colors were off. But a boxing promoter used to come in and I used to help him with posters. Fast forward, I thought, if I could, what's one event that I could shoot that if I mastered that, I can shoot any event. Not a problem. I saw one of his posters after not seeing him for maybe 5 or 6 years. And I emailed him. I was like, hey, remember me? I used to do your poster. He was like, yeah. I was like, I want to get into photography. Can I come shoot your fight? I'll share the photos with you. It's no problem. I just want to come practice. He was like, sure, come on. And that's how I ended up getting to shoot my first fight. It was with Greg Robinson of Power Productions.
So let me ask the question. So Macho Man Randy Savage had nothing to do with you wanting to shoot in the ring?
Not a thing. I almost got into a fight with Macho Man one time.
Really?
Really? What
and
happened?
It was, I'm a big wrestling fan, huge wrestling fan. So what happened was me and my girlfriend at the time, different ex, this was in my youth, my early 20s. We were coming after seeing Monday Nitro at the Seattle Center Key Arena. And I'm getting off the bus and I'm walking her home. And we're going into AM/PM. For the Philly people, that's our version of Wawa. So I walk in the door and I get bumped really aggressively. And I'm like, yo, son, watch where you going. And then he turns around and is like, yo, brothers, no, it's okay. I'm like, it's Macho Man. It's Macho Man and Jeff Jarrett. I'm like, wow, I could have almost got washed here real bad. It was gonna be a quick night for me. End up getting Jeff Jarrett's autograph, not Macho Man's, because they were trying to shuffle that 6-pack of beer they bought to the car. But yeah, that's how I almost got into a fight with Macho Man, and it was gonna be him hitting me and me hitting the ground.
So when you stepped into the boxing ring and you started shooting boxing photography, what was your biggest learning curve?
Biggest learning curve was motion and the fact that what's bright to non-photographers is definitely not bright to us.
Explain.
When you walk into a room and you can visually see, as a normal person, you're like, well, I can make out everybody. It's pretty well lit. Okay, it's got some light in here. However, in comparison to a photographer, when a photographer walks into a room, we think of how fast we're going to have to shoot. And is there enough light to sustain that? Or do I have enough ISO room to make sure the pictures don't come out looking like I pushed things to 1600 using Tri-X? So the place I was shooting, National Guard Armory, yellow light, so everything looks like it's sepia or that really urine color yellow.
Yeah.
And all I had was a Nikon D80. So and a kit, one kit lens, the 18, I think it was the 18 to 55 or something like that, and 18 to 105. I had that, and a 50 millimeter 1.8. So learning that just because it looks bright, it for what you're trying to do, it may not be enough light.
So what's the next thing you learn? So now you got your lighting under control. What about movement with the boxers and anticipating their punches? Because we've seen some magnificent work come from you.
It almost seems 3D. When you look at your photos,
We
it
can
always
see the sweat being punched.
The light, it just feel like
We can see the spit coming out of the boxers' mouths. How did you learn that?
I learned that by looking at old fight photographers, looking at people like Neil Leifer, looking at one of the local guys here that was very good. His name was Chris Tony, and he was the only one who had photos that I saw until I started, and he was also a brother too. I started looking at what good boxing photography looked like, and so I had to figure out how that was done. And basically, I learned from spending a lot of clicks is that if you see it in the frame, you've already missed it.
Wow. Wow.
That's it.
Yep.
Nice.
That's, everybody gets a quote. So far, that's your quote until you top it.
Yeah. So,
how did you? Okay, so you're in the boxing ring. How many years were you doing this before you realized, I think I want to do some fashion work?
Yeah. When did
that happen?
When did fashion come into play?
It happened. Actually, fashion didn't come later. It did come way later. Mm-hmm. It just started out as studio work because boxing is so out of control. For me to figure out how I could be better in an out of control environment, I had to do something the total opposite. So I needed something that I can control completely. So if I know what I can control completely, I can put myself into situations where I know what little I can control and go from there. So it really started out not with fashion, but with studio work.
Okay.
And doing with studio lighting and that sort of thing. Fashion didn't come until after your class.
So you were already doing studio work before you came to Light is Light?
Shamefully, yes.
Why shamefully?
You've seen the pictures. They were, steaming piles of
ass.
Rubbish. But you know what? The thing is that I realized that the better I got in studio, the better I got ringside, and then the better I got ringside, the better I got in studio.
So they all went hand in hand.
Yes, they fed off each other from me. Because the skills I brought from the ring, I would bring it to the people I shot.
Okay.
And then for the people and from the studio and the positions I would do in studio or how light would had a certain direction or something like that, I would recognize that ringside.
Okay.
Wow. Because we always wonder how the duality, because you do both of them well.
You do them extremely well.
You do them well. So it's like, how do you jump from here to here and it works and it's complete polar opposites.
And it's seamless.
Yeah, complete polar opposites. So in my mind, I'm like, I don't know what he got going on there. It's amazing. What you do is really amazing, and to see your growth and to see how you just keep producing, keep doing it. I'm like, all right.
And every time we see your work, it gets better and better. And that's
like,
the reason why that's why we're giving you flowers. So okay,
absolutely.
So you went from studio work. You decided to take a workshop. What made you take the Light is Light workshop?
And how did you hear about it?
Again, my damn ex-girlfriend. I'm gonna say her name fully, Alicia Williams.
Okay.
Dallas happened to be doing a lot. Well, okay, let me back up before I get to that. When I started doing studio work, again, I noticed it wasn't what I liked. So then, when I found Instagram, I started to follow ass photographers because that's what we felt was good photography. The King Magazine dudes, 2020 photos, Facet, those sorts. Until I ran across Taurus Love's page. Mm-hmm. He doesn't know this. It was his page where I started to actually see, I was like, aha. And then that's where I found your page.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, this is the shit. This is it. So I started following you and him and stalking what you guys were doing. I was still getting my King magazine, but it was what you guys were doing that I was like, yeah, this is what I want. And then I joined your Facebook group, and you happened to be doing a live there. You was like, I'm just going to do this. I never did it before, and you were doing a live talk, a live workshop, kind of like the beta version of what you're doing now.
Right.
And she was listening. Typical Virgo, she was listening, but I wasn't paying attention, but she was paying attention to everything. So after we got done, she told me to buy your ebook right then. And when you have an opening, and when I was like, but it's $100. She was like, buy the ebook. I was like,
well, thank you, Alicia Williams.
And then she told me to register for your class if it's ever on the East Coast. And turns out, before Philly, your class in October was the last Light as Light you did on the East Coast.
Yep.
Wow, you're right.
You're right.
So I scrambled and scrimped and made sure I was there.
Man.
And what did that do with regards to elevating your lighting skills? Like what changed? What clicked?
No, talk about your experience during the class.
Oh my God.
that is more important.
Whenever I'm trying to learn something, I get very laser focused on learning something, because I'm here because I want to be better. And there's nothing worse than taking up a spot and not paying attention to this great teacher that's giving you this information. So I'm laser focused on that. And I'm a very literal learner.
Yes, I figured that out.
To the point where I don't like reading fiction. Something else you probably don't know is that the only way I read fiction is I listen to audiobooks. However, anything dry, I can read that. So all the dry, boring stuff people don't want to read, like I took a portion of my ex-wife's psychology course. But if it's dry and boring, I'll read it, because I can read information for hours. I can read information. But if it's like, so basically, when it came to your course and we were having our discussion about 12 o'clock,
right?
I was looking at it as strictly a clock face.
Right.
So when you tell me 12 o'clock, I'm thinking, well, it's straight up and down. And we're not looking at a straight up and down image as far as lighting is positioned.
Right.
So we spent 45 minutes doing that. And
yes, we did.
I was frustrated because, for one, I didn't feel like we were communicating well. Two, I was feeling
it really
a little.
wasn't 12 o'clock. It was 6 o'clock to the sun.
Right.
Right.
And I was feeling a little heat from the class, because they were like, "Well, how come we just don't get it?" And I'm like,
wait,
and I'm, not you. No, not you.
Better now. All
right. And I'm a confrontational person, so whenever I feel, it's either all in. Either we gonna go all the way with it, or I'm just gonna try and step back.
We went all the way with it.
No, we didn't.
Oh, it could have went worse. It could have gone on. Okay.
No. What I mean by that is, I'm pretty all in. So when I was feeling like it was getting a little hostile, not from you, just the situation.
Right.
I'd rather just back off, and then I can ask my questions later when it isn't on everybody else's time.
Let me ask you a question now. Now that you are where you are with regards to understanding of lighting, did you understand my 6 o'clock now?
No, it didn't.
You just took it as L.
The reason being is that I had to look at it different as a 3D artist.
Okay.
So the way you were presenting it still didn't make any sense.
Okay.
However, when I started looking at my old AutoCAD drawings, where we had to actually deal in XYZ plane, then it made sense.
Okay. That's good. What about when he first shot the model? Tell that story.
Okay, the reason being that was is I've had rapport with people.
Right.
I've had rapport with professional athletes. I have rapport with people. What Dallas didn't know is that at my old job at Comcast, I actually did a training on actual rapport. But again, when I'm learning something, I'm focused on what I'm learning.
Okay.
And so I was all in on learning the lighting and absorbing that, because I didn't feel that I needed to learn how to engage somebody because I already knew that. But I was trying to really absorb everything you were talking about regarding lighting, because when else when I was going to have an opportunity to be in your presence to learn such a thing and to ask all those questions. So to me, nothing else mattered.
Okay.
That mattered.
This is a different, I'm glad I'm having this discussion with you because I'm learning all these new things from your point of view.
Yeah.
But go on.
So I just really, when I take in information, to me, that is the most open you'll find me. And I'm really trying to make sure I make the most of that opportunity, because it doesn't come along every day.
Right. So when I said to you, talk to the model. So do you want to tell the story?
Darryl, I'm telling you what it looked like over here.
On this side of the coin.
So y'all got into the heat, whatever. So we move forward. Everything's going on. We go to the shooting portion of it, and we're shooting. And so Dallas kept telling people, hey, speak to the model, introduce yourself, say something, give her direction, tell her she's doing good, give her some encouragement. And so when it came for Darryl to go up, Darryl was shooting, and he was quiet. He was shooting and shooting. So all you saw was a person behind the camera like this. So Dallas was like, talk to the model. He was like, give us some encouragement. So how's she doing? Say something to the model. He was like, I have nothing to say. I was like, oh shit.
Because
we both said that like, holy shit.
Dead serious, because the way my mind works, I was trying to figure out how your lighting setup worked. I wasn't just trying.
You wasn't even there. You was looking at how does lighting work.
Yes.
Got it.
Like, because to me, I was trying to figure out, well, okay, I see this image is producing this, but how is it doing it?
Right.
So when I take it home, I need to know how to replicate it.
Right.
I don't need to talk to somebody. I know how to do that. But how do I make this lighting setup work when I don't have a large softbox?
Right.
I don't have the expensive strobes. How can I adapt what I'm learning here and apply it to my equipment at home?
Right.
So that's what I was thinking about. And honestly, the last shoot you liked, I'm trying to figure out the one where I shot.
I know what you're talking about.
The girl sitting on the box?
No. Okay. I'm trying to. The reason being is because it's a direct reference to your second setup in that first class.
Okay.
When I used the Bear. It was when I used the beauty dish.
Okay.
And I used the grid. No, I was going to use the beauty dish, but my grid, I didn't really fully test it out. But I used the 6-inch reflector with the grid on it.
Okay.
And that was the look you had, the dark look you had with the model.
Yes.
So like I said, I really focus in on what you were doing with the lighting, and that's what really prompted that.
Right. Okay.
Nice.
So what begins to happen is, now that you incorporated those things in your work, because it comes. One thing about you that we've noticed is, if any suggestions made to you, you see it immediately in the next shoot.
Yeah, like you implement it.
So you left the studio, and there was a complete change in your work after you left the studio. And after you left the workshop, it was immediate.
Yeah.
So what did you begin to see after you took the class, and how did it help you apply to your studio lighting?
Well, it just helped me understand why things were happening the way they were. I started to understand the questions I had, why certain effects were happening in my photos. And it also helped me to solve other problems. Light is Light is an incredible workshop to help you troubleshoot your own problems if you're there to pay attention. If you really dial into what you're teaching, you'll start to see, okay, this is a light ratio problem. Oh, well, this is a soft or hard light issue, or I need to figure out how to bounce this, or you just start to really understand problems and how to solve them creatively. And that's what I took from your class and your book. Honestly, I didn't fully understand the book until I took the class.
Okay, that's understandable.
So
I get that.
Let me ask this question, class aside. Growing up, right? Mm-hmm. I want to understand that any of you growing up, how did it get you to shooting the way you shoot? Like, where's the influence? Is anybody else a photographer in your family? Do you have any other artists in your family, or you like me, where you like the only
lone wolf?
I've always been a lone wolf about everything. No other artists in my family. Honestly, school kind of removed anything artistic out of me for a while. I failed every art class I was mandated to take.
Really?
Even woodshop?
Yeah. I didn't see woodshop as an art. We taught it as a vocation. And, even then, I still couldn't cut straight or draw inside the lines.
What about when your teacher said, this week, let's talk about screwing?
We didn't do that. We didn't do that. Believe it or not, my focus was because the art classes were all terrible for me, I focused more on science and math.
So how does that incorporate into your artistry now? Because you have to have we can give you all the formulas in the world.
Yeah, it's the emotion.
But there's an emotion, and there's things that are happening in your photographs that is artistry. So do you turn off the mechanical part of your brain?
Or
yes.
Is it all mechanics? Oh.
So you set up your lights mechanically, the way you want them set, and then there's a brain switch, correct?
That's about it. I have things that I want. I see what I want to create. So, and I tell people this all the time, which is why I have to work from mood boards. I can't just come in the studio and say, "Oh, we're just going to shoot."
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh no, we here.
What?
I will see a shoot completed, and then I work backwards.
Yes.
Okay, you reverse engineer.
Yes.
Right, and then the mood board is for me to express that to everybody else.
Yes.
And if you give me a mood board, I have to deconstruct that mood board. There's room for deviating. One thing I did learn from you as a practice: if it ain't working in the first 5 clicks, throw that away. So if I take a few shots, and I'll famously do this in studio, I'll just throw the modifier to the side.
Wow.
Like, that's not working. Next. And then we'll do something different.
So, you know what I like?
The floor is yours.
You are really, really amazing when it comes down to your black and whites. Give me some of your influences on your black and whites.
Oh, you already know.
I need all of it. You need to tell the people who influence
you need to tell them.
Because you can see it in your work, but I want you to talk about it.
The top is definitely Peter Lindbergh. I love his work. I actually love his approach to photography, period. You didn't see him. You didn't see any scandals. He wasn't trying to be all in the model's face. You didn't see about him screwing nobody 20 years old. It was like, look, I fall in love from 9 to 5, and then after that's it.
Yeah.
We gonna get this work in. Everybody's gonna be cool, but I'm not that guy. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I really gravitated towards that. Then of course Dallas, your work, Taurus Love.
I'm in the same sentence with Peter Lindbergh. Sorry.
Of course, you and Taurus, because like I said, y'all, it was Taurus that led me to you, which was more than appreciative for that. Those are the big ones, and then those are the major influences. I just love black and white photography. To me, it to quote Peter Lindbergh, it's going to be in black and white and I don't shoot in color unless I have to.
That's another great point. So let me ask you this: so you took Light is Light, and then you decided to take it again. Why?
It's kind of like when you read a book in high school, and you want to read it as an adult. Okay. You look at it with different eyes, and you take in the information a little savvier. I've said this to you repeatedly. Your class is not for people who are at Photography 101. I feel that it's a master class, and you should be at a certain level to take your course to really appreciate the information and to show that you're serious enough to apply it. If you get your information too early, people are just going to rush to copy it and wondering why it doesn't work. It's not the way it's supposed to work. I use your book as a handbook of a look that I want to get, but then I know how to tweak it so it looks like my work.
And that's what I try to tell people exactly.
It's always interesting to see your take on things. Your street photography.
Oh my God! I'm so sorry. I didn't even think about the street photography. That as well.
Then you took a model and put it
in your street photography,
and it was just like fuck.
And how you married the two. So you know what's going to happen next? I'm going to see him shoot a boxing match, and there's going to be some Versace chick standing in the middle of all
That's
that.
What you know. It's interesting. We always said, I can see Darryl mixing the two, and that being
being his thing.
But you do a bunch of things so well, and I love how you see the world. Your take on the world, your take on boxing, it feels refreshing to me amongst beauty and fashion and landscape. It feels so fresh. That's why I'm always like, yo, he dope.
And every time you do something, it's like, okay, we got to get our act together because I'm not gonna let you. I love you, Darryl. You're not gonna outshine me. Fuck that. So it's like, so let me ask you this question: how do you see the world of photography now? Yeah. Now that you have these different eyes, and how do you like the work that's being produced by your counterparts?
I see it in two camps. I see people that are truly artists, and then I see people that are just hustlers. And there's a lot of people out there hustling, and they don't really care if their work is good or not. But I got paid though, and I'm like, it's really to me that's insulting, because I guess I take it personally because for me, photography means a great deal. So you want to talk to me about how much you made last year? I don't really give a shit. Tell me what you produced. Show me a project you like doing. And if I want to talk business, I'll actually sit you or Day in a private conversation because there's something specific I want to know. But I'm not counting your pockets. I'm counting what you produce. And if what you're producing is not something I'm interested in, now I just want to say this. There's stuff I don't like, and then there's stuff that's trash. And I most certainly cannot like your work, but I know it's not trash. So but people don't seem to understand you can have that. Like, for instance, I don't like Annie Leibovitz's work at all. But you'll never hear me say she's trash.
Yes.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
I come from the age where there's some stuff that I like that is straight up trash. I'll be honest that. Yeah. And I'll own that. Like, artistically, this is kind of garbo, but you know what though? I like it though. It was something that I will purchase, I enjoy. But that's what I see. I see a lot of people in here just trying to make a quick buck, and they want everything given to them. I've had somebody tell me I'll master photography in 6 months, and I'm like, whatever. But then you have people that are really care about the craft. I love talking with them. I love talking with people that talk about photographers, photography, what projects inspired them, what crazy idea they want to do, something that's totally outlandish. I love talking about that. I love talking to people. I love talking about failed projects. Oh, it just didn't work, but because I know that failed project is going to lead to a winner the next time.
Absolutely.
So
because we learn from our mistakes.
Exactly. As long as we talking about the craft, the art, stuff that's you're passionate about, I'm in. I don't give a damn if you're passionate about money.
Let me ask you this question. A little bit personal. Are you tight with your family?
Of course.
So let me ask you this: what do they think about your artistry?
Yeah.
My dad is probably my biggest fan. He keeps asking me why I don't send him my portfolios. I'm like, well, Dad, if I send you my portfolios, what am I showing people? But my mom and my dad are very big supporters. My brother and sister, who are twins, are very big supporters. My nieces are waiting for their photo shoots. 2 of them told me I had to shoot their weddings, and I told them I'll die first. And they said, we'll see. My parents, and they'll send me random camera equipment just to support me with it.
That's amazing.
That's so
because the normal thing is you're 37 years old and you're picking up a camera. It's like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Like, why are you wasting your time with that? And it's good that they're supporting you.
It was interesting because they supported me. I picked up film in a pretty dark time, and I guess you can call it dark in my creative journey. I got laid off from Comcast after being there 10 years. And so I just had my severance and unemployment. And so basically I had no job. And I saw this camera that I wanted, and my parents bought it for me.
Wow.
They bought my Nikon F2 for me.
Okay.
I had my Mamiya 645, but I was like, so they bought me this camera. And I shot the hell out of that all summer, and I still continue to shoot it. And then a couple years later, they sent me this box of camera equipment. They said, I don't know if it works, but see what you can do with it. In that box was a Canon AE1 program.
That's the camera.
The only reason it didn't work is it didn't have any batteries.
Nice. Nice.
So my parents are very supportive. Anytime they'll send me anything, I have to figure out how to make it work. And, I appreciate it.
That's dope.
Let me ask you a question.
That's dope.
Give me 3 adjectives that will describe you and why.
Committed.
Why?
I don't like to not finish anything. I don't want to. I hate washing out of anything. I hate failure. It keeps me up at night. So I feel personally people have bet a lot on me to be good at this. So I feel that I don't want anybody to lose time, money, resources, their commitment by me not taking this seriously.
Okay, that's one. Your next adjective?
Stubborn.
Yes.
I've been told that I need to shoot the right people. I tell people, fuck that. I shoot who the fuck I want.
He's giving us like quote after quote after quote.
And I really mean that. And I've had people tell me, well, this person won't shoot with you because you shoot with these people. I'm like, well, I guess they won't be shooting with me then. I didn't even ask them. How do you know I want to shoot with them?
Right.
And I understand it's a hindrance. I could be much more successful if I actually followed the blueprint, shot only agency models, did only agency projects, did everything according to the book. I probably could actually be doing quite well, but I'd be miserable.
And what's your third adjective?
Curiosity. Very curious.
Okay.
Nice.
Curiosity leads anything I'm curious about, anything I'm creative about. I shot a girl. Her name was Bella. She's not a model. She's really into style, grunge, punk style, goth. And it was nothing else that I liked the way she dressed and I wanted to shoot her. If I'm curious about it, that's where I'm going. And that's just the end all be all to it. If I don't have if I'm not curious about your look or anything about you, nothing's interesting, there's nothing I can really do with you.
So you're talking like a true artist.
Yeah, because he is.
You are talking like a true artist.
You are. That's crazy.
Don't tell nobody.
So we're coming up to the last 15 minutes of our conversation, and I want to ask you, what do you want Darryl Cobb's legacy to be?
I haven't figured that out yet. Just to be honest with you, at this point, I just don't want my work to be disposable. I'm less enchanted with social media. I like my work existing in reality, in print. You know, so as far as the legacy, I think that comes more. You come to the answer to that more than 10 years, and I've only been doing this 7.
So, if we had to look on your library shelf, what would we see?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you already know Peter Lindbergh's A Different View of Fashion, Shadows on the Wall. Of course, endless magazines. I got W Stories. That was your recommendation, and a couple of others. Oh yes, I have an encyclopedia of photography from like 1967.
Nice.
Oh yeah, and something timely. I mentioned this last night in Clubhouse. A couple books by Cecil Beaton. When people talk that, well, Photoshop is the reason, no, it's not. You need to look a little bit beyond digital.
I wanted to tell them last night that retouching has been around since like the 1800s, because there's a couple of photographs that were of Abraham Lincoln that the head was removed from one photo and put on another body. So yeah, it's been around for quite some time.
Yeah, and that's something else. I really need people to stop putting themselves in the positions of authority when you have a very limited. You've only been shooting for 5 years, 10 years. Sit back a little bit. Or when you say something, say it with a qualification like, from what I've experienced, this is how it is.
Right.
It's okay to qualify yourself.
Yes.
It's perfectly fine to do that, especially when you're in the company of people that's been shooting 20, 30, 40 plus years.
Yes. Yes. It's awesome. I don't know. It's awesome to see your growth. It's awesome to see, like I speak to you all the time. We always talking photography and film.
Yes.
We getting into film again.
Yes.
I still got stuff in my shopping cart I have not paid for. I'm just sitting there looking like I'm late.
So every time I go to Amazon or something, I'm seeing all these chemicals. It's like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. Because
hey, look, I feel you. I got my large format list right now like that.
So are you willing to teach others?
I'm not in a position to teach anyone.
Not yet.
You do have knowledge to pass on. You do realize that, right?
A lot of knowledge to pass on.
You do realize that teaching is a skill unto itself.
Yes, it is. That shit is hard.
And
but you realize people are learning shit from you now. You know that, right?
We'll see. I tell people always to filter their information with understanding that I make the decisions I make because I have a full-time job. my rent does not depend on the click of my camera. So when I speak like this, I don't want young people to think, well, he's doing this and he's made it. Nah, bro. I have a 9 to 5 and I do photography 6 to 10 and on the weekends. If you want to learn how to pay, if you want to learn how to pay your rent with your camera, you talk to people like yourself and Day, because how I do it is not how you don't come into trying to be a full-time photographer with that attitude.
Okay. Because we're talking to the artist, not the businessman.
Yeah, you know what it is? Yeah.
And he stands strong in his conviction. So let me ask you a question.
I think that's kind of awesome.
If you didn't pick up photography and you didn't pick up that camera, thank God for Alicia, what would you be doing now? 6 to 10 and on the weekends?
Struggling with JavaScript and C++.
Okay.
Nice.
Which is an artistry amongst in and of itself.
But like you said, it's very literal.
It's very
learned about you. You're right. You're like a scientist.
You're like a scientist with a camera. Other than fashion, which is what you're getting into, and street photography and boxing photography, is there any other type of artistry and photography that you want to conquer?
Astrophotography.
Really? Okay.
I've been a space buff longer than anything. My dream project would be to work for NASA.
Really? So I'm liking this because I'm ready to go. Yeah.
I went to boarding school for a 6-week program, and one of the courses I took was astronomy and chemistry.
Everything about you is something new.
It's always something new, right?
Always something new.
Yes, I'm kind of weird. Yes, I understand this.
No, it's not weird. Believe it or not, it's revealing.
No, weird is good. I like weird.
It's like
all of us is some kind of weirdo.
It's
all
like
the
this
time.
onion. It's like you think you know the onion until you peel one more layer, and it's like, oh shit,
there's something else. So
wait till you go to a casino with me one day.
Oh, okay. So when you come here, we'll take a drive to Vegas.
Yeah.
I play blackjack and dice well. Here's a quick tip. Quick tip: never roll the dice. Just bet on the field.
Okay, I can fuck with that. Don't roll the dice. Bet on the field.
All right, we need to talk
because we need to make some money with you.
I stopped gambling a while ago because I was under the opinion that the house always wins, so best to get out while you're ahead.
I can tell you a funny story about that.
No, you won't. Not right now.
Yeah, we're gonna tell a story about that.
No, we're not. Not right now. Not on this Darryl time.
We'll talk about it right now.
We'll talk about it later.
Only if Darryl wants to hear this.
Hey, look, you know, I'm in.
He's in. So we're in the airport of Vegas, and he got all the slot machines. And Dave's sitting beside this dude who's playing like 3 slot machines, and this guy is making all this money. So Dave is sitting there like, oh my God. So I had a $20 bill, and I gave it to Dave, and he started playing. He made it to about $600. So I said, oh my God, you're really doing good. So I said, you know what? He still wanted to play. So I said, if you get below like $500 or $400, you stop playing. $400 you're cut. He said, okay. Darryl, I went someplace to plug up my phone. He was at $600. I went to plug my phone in. When I came back to him, why was he down to like $49?
I have a rule when it comes to gambling. I have a couple rules that first rule, if I lose 3 straight hands at blackjack, that's it for me for the night. Second rule, if I lose $60, that's it. I don't care if I'm up 1,000. I lose 60, that's it. Because the goal is to have a good time. We all don't mind going out spending $60, right? We mind when we lose 500, 1,000. We mind there. We don't mind $60 because then we'll make it back at the buffet.
Right.
Like, all right, you got me for $60. I'm about to eat about $120 of these crab legs. We about to make it even. But yeah, never dip into your winnings like that because they're hoping you do it.
Let me tell you something. I had never gambled. You have to do this. This is my first time ever gambling. I didn't gamble. And it just was making all these sounds. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
There was lights flashing. There was sound.
It was
that was your first time gambling?
The man next to him was getting stacks of money.
Yeah, so...
Here's my question. You've never shot dice?
I'm not that dude.
How was I shooting dice in Seattle? You weren't in Newark.
Let me tell you something. I'm just not that dude. I sat there and was just like, nah, I'm good. I don't play with my money. I like to hold on to it. I know where this is going.
Well, it was hard to tell that night.
Shut up. So what happened was all the money in my mind is counted for. So it's like, yeah, if I bet this, then all those things won't get done. I'm not doing this. So when Dow's getting $20, I said, oh, $20. All right, cool, let's do it. $20, I can do this. Boom, 20 turned to like 600. I was like, what the fuck? Now listen, it wasn't 600 in one pot. It was like
up and down, up and down, up and down, right.
You lost 5. It was like, oh, then this freaking wheel kept like spinning and I didn't know what was happening. So the woman was like, oh no, you have to choose press the button for something. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And it was spinning and it was like, all this fucking noise.
What was the noise?
Nope, not doing it. So I'm like, what the hell is going on? But anyway,
that's why I only stick with cards and dice. Because all those other machines, first they're fancy video games to take your money. Yeah. And they have a predetermined amount of when to pay out. A lot of people don't know that. You're just hoping that it pays out for you. However, cards and dice is something you have a little more odds in. Cards you can control a little bit more because you're controlling what you do.
Right.
When I play blackjack, I like to sit on the anchor chair because I actually know I know the goal is for all of us to win, not for me to play against all of you.
Right.
And when you're shooting dice, the reason why I say bet the field is because there's so many numbers, and you win every time those numbers hit. 2, 3, 9, 11, 12, 5. Anytime those hit, and a person may roll all night, and all you're doing is betting on that field and getting money, while they hoping they hit for they roll.
Well, I wanna learn because I have no idea any of what you were talking about, and I'm open for it.
All right.
This dude is naming. Never mind. Anyway,
no.
We're coming to the end of our interview now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you know what we want to do right now? I want to thank you for joining us for Black History Month.
Hell yeah.
You are amazing artist
and
an amazing person.
Yes.
And we're happy to know you.
Absolutely, and happy to help on your journey.
On your journey,
because it's. I told you I'm a fan. I say that shit all the time.
All the time.
But no, I am proud of your growth and proud to contribute anything because in my mind you are a true artist.
Yes.
And I love how you work and how you operate and where you work from. It's like artists speak artists, and I hear you, I see you, and it's like, yo, he's amazing. And so when we were trying to figure out who to interview, and a lot of people in our village was like, Darryl.
Yep, the people in the village said Darryl.
Absolutely.
I need a list. I need a list of who I need to run fades with. I know Carlos Vincent is the first one to list.
Yeah, Sonya Blade was.
Tanya was on the list as well.
Sonya and Tanya were the first one. Sonya was like Darryl. Tanya was like Darryl, and then Carlos was like Darryl. Was like, all right.
So we had to interview Darryl.
Sonya's too tall. I can't do it already.
Well, you know what? We want you to give us a 3-second smile so we can get a good clip.
Oh yeah, we gotta do that.
Come join me.
Wait.
Oh God.
It don't have to be a smile. It just got to be something. Ready? Let's get the profile picture.
Let's get it together. Ready? This is going to be our thumbnail. So let's do this.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much, man.
A lot of fun.